good.
And you're good over here.
All right, we're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. Welcome, everybody, to another brand new episode of the Paul Gough Show. This is Coffee with Goughy. We are live from Orlando, and it is great to be here. As always, it is Monday afternoon at 3, nearly 4 p.m. Eastern. Nice to see you. Type into the chat, hello, wherever you are coming in from. It is great to see you. We're now on Instagram. We are on the TikTok. We're on the YouTube. We're on the Gram. We're on the Flakebook. What is it? Flakebook. The lot. Fakebook. It is full of flakes, isn't it? Snowflakes and fake books and full of shit, most of them anyway. We're live and we are excited to be here. It is it's a privilege and it's a pleasure to share with you my energy for life and just love of life and business and just all of the wonderful things that happen in life. Was a wonderful weekend in the Gough household. I think I said on the podcast last week, it was Grayson's birthday on Friday. It was Tobias's birthday yesterday, and we spent the day at the water park with 6 10-year-olds, which is fun. 6 of his 10-year-old friends from his school, which was amazing. And one thing I love about living in the US, I said to the kids, I said, "Where are you all from?" And obviously they all said Orlando, and I said, okay, cool, but like, where's your family from, right? Where do you kind of all originate from? And one was from Palestine, one was from Brazil, one was from Venezuela. One's father was born in England and mother was Brazilian. He was born in the US. One was born in Germany to an American father, but in Germany, in America, and a German mother. And obviously Tobias is English in the middle of all of this. And I remember just laughing to myself thinking, wow, like this is the coolest thing on earth. And it is one of the things that I love about the US, that it just brings so many people together from all across the world, which I just think is wonderful. And I'm from a small little town called Hartlepool, and I suspect if I asked my friends when I was 10 where they're from, they'd probably all say the Fens or Rift House or Alton Manor or Seaton, tiny little sort of areas of Hartlepool that are all kind of like half a mile from each other. So life really has moved on and changed for us as a family and for my children. The view of the world that they've got already is wonderful. So it was a fantastic weekend. Friday night we went to to MGM, to Hollywood Studios. We had a couple of rides and just did the Star Wars things with the kids. Saturday was basketball with all of the boys. What feels like I started tennis at 7 o'clock till 8, and then I got my 7-year-old now to basketball 9 till 10. I got another one who had to be at tennis 9:30 till 11, and then we got back together for Harry and Tobias playing on the same team between 12 and 1 on Saturday afternoon. And then I went to the pub straight after. I went to the tavern, and then I had a few friends round for a little bit of a pool party on Saturday afternoon. And I watched a wonderful movie. I'm going to make a recommendation to you. If you've got kids and you like the old school stuff, I obsess over the old school kind of 80s and 90s stuff in my house. If you're coming into the 80s or 90s radio stations, but the same as the movies, I just take my kids back to my childhood, and I promise you they love it. And I watched a movie, you ready for this, called The Boy Who Could Fly, and it was with the kid off the Wonder Years. Remember the Wonder Years? Did you ever see that? Never seen it. You heard of it, though?
Yeah, I have heard of it.
The kid off the Wonder Years. I can't think of his name, but obviously he was very, very famous, and he was in that movie. And my dad introduced me to it when I was about 10, so I carried on the tradition. And years later, I watched that movie, and I find more in it, and it's a wonderful movie. It shows you how you interpret things differently. At the time, I didn't really kind of understood what it was all about, but it was about essentially how this family kind of care for this kid who thinks he can fly, and he's slightly, I'll just say, challenged in a few areas of his life. I'll keep it very respectful. And this family befriends him, and it's just a wonderful story. It means a lot to me now since Xander. I don't think I'd actually watched that movie since Xander was born. And when we all watched it, I wouldn't say there was tears, but we were close at some point, because it really kind of hits home how and what it is like to raise somebody that does need some help, and will always need help really as they go through life. So it was a wonderful family movie to watch. There's some great fun lines in it as well that my kids love, a little bit of language that they find funny. But yeah, it's definitely worth a watch, called The Boy Who Could Fly. Maybe if you watch it, let me know next time I bump into you. Tell me what you think. Wonderful, wonderful movie. And one of Tobias's friends was around as well, and he did not want to leave until it was over. And his mum said it was the best movie he's seen for years. And it was a movie straight out of the 80s. So The Boy Who Could Fly, that was my weekend in the Gough household. And we're back in the office today. All systems go. I think we made the announcements already on the podcast recorded. If you haven't listened, the huge announcement about PPM Live. We're off. We're off and running. The second half of the season here in the Planet Paul community is picking up pace. We're picking up new clients left, right, and centre. It seems like you guys want to know how to solve what is the biggest problem out there right now, the hiring crisis. So many of you are telling us you simply can't afford to pay 150 on measly margins of 8, 9s, and 10%. And all I'm going to say is we hear you. We know that you can't do that. It's almost impossible for you to compete with the hospital systems, and it is going to be the biggest bottleneck that you will face over the next 3 to 5 years. Is how do you compete in a marketplace where big hospital systems will pay $150,000 to pinch your PTs? People are literally sleepless nights, waking up every day wondering, is today the day that you're going to lose your rockstar PT who's currently on 100, 110, who's been offered a $150,000 job in a system, albeit a shitty system, but a system nonetheless that will pay them more money. So that's what's going on. PPM Live, as I talk to you now, you've got to head over to ppmlive26.com, register for your waitlist. Your early bird registration will get you access to the best offers. Anybody who registers early will be tagged, and you will get the best offers, and you will get the best incentives to make it easy for you to come. And we do have free hotel rooms available right now for our newbies and our guests, of which there will only be 50 seats available. There'll be 200 of my mastermind members and their staff, and there'll be 50 guest seats available. So head over to ppmlive26.com right now. That is the theme. We're going to be tackling the how do I pay 150K? How are we going to do that? In fact, I think we should start a new phrase in this community, and it goes like this: there's no way I can pay 150K. There you go. You having that? I should have been a poet in another life. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There's no way I can pay 150K. And that's what many of you are telling us. I can't pay 150. Some people are telling us that they can't pay 70. Never mind 150K. Things are that bad in these, these businesses out there in some cases. So the challenge is clear, and it unites you all, and that's what you should know. We hear you, and we've got a solution for you that will be presented at PPM Live in November here in Orlando. Top Gun themed. If anybody knows Tom Cruise, please let me know, because we're trying to reach him, and he's so far eluded me. He might be on holiday or vacation, but he's so far eluded me. So we're going to do everything we can to get Tom to be at this event as well. Right, what have we got today? It is Monday, and we're going to tackle your questions. Producer Jay, where are we going today, please? First, how are you?
Pretty good.
Good weekend?
Yeah, it's all right.
Anything you want to report?
I made it in.
You made it in. Well done. I think you should give yourself a round of applause. Can I have the clap? There we go. So we have a brand new starter today as well. Where's he at? Is he hiding?
Andrew, yeah.
So what are we going to call him?
We got to figure that out.
Other than Andrew, right? If you're producer Jay, what is he? What does that make him? Is he your bitch, or what is he? Is he like how do we?
We'll do the office thing where he's the assistant to the regional manager.
Is that what you are? So he's the assistant to the producer. So he is producer Jay's assistant. What's more important, the producer or the executive producer?
Well, I feel like the executive producer is more important.
So why don't you become the executive producer? And he becomes the executive producer's assistant. There you go. EPA. We'll call him the EPA.
That's good.
We just won't tell him, but we'll refer to him as the EPA.
Right.
So you've had a promotion without a pay rise.
Right.
You've had a promotion, and you've got an assistant. Does that mean you're going to do even less work now?
Oh,
that you've got an assistant.
The dream, the American dream.
That is the dream. The further you go, less you do. Did you not know that? As you climb the corporate ladder, the further you go up, the less work that you do, the more supervising that you do, and you just kind of oversee things. You don't really do anything. You just kind of make sure everybody else is doing their shit, and when they're not, blame them and fire them, and then that's it. So that's the way of the world. So
that's good.
So what do we got? What do we got today?
We got Marcus Reynolds out in North Carolina. I'm going through a divorce, and her lawyer wants the value of my business included in the settlement. On paper, I've built a successful clinic worth several millions of dollars. The problem is that money doesn't actually exist in my bank account. If I have to compensate her based on that valuation, I could end up giving away most of my cash and investments, leaving me with little except shares in the company I still have to turn up and run every morning. How is that fair, and what should business owners be doing before divorce is ever on the table?
I mean, so this is going to be fun. So we've got a divorce, and this lady's lawyer who's divorcing this business owner has valued the business at 3 million and wants it included in the settlement. What should this person be doing about it? And is there anything that they can do?
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer, and I always have to preface this with any type of advice around this. I'm not a lawyer. Now, what I also know is it does change state by state in the US. Nothing simple here when it comes to this stuff. But I reckon I've had this discussion at least 5 or 6 times. At least, right? Genuine discussion with clinic owners who, when they start to tell me about their business and what problems they've got in their business, all roads lead back to a lack of potential cash. Because I've seen it on both sides where, and I'll get into this from experience, of working with clients who've equally been screwed over completely by divorce lawyers who've done this and put the value of the business into the marital estate. And I've seen it on the other side where they've had to give up cash and assets to the value of the business, leaving them with very little left to invest. So they've kept the business. And I've seen it completely and utterly destroy a man or a woman who's gone through this and has had to keep the business, but ultimately give up assets, liquid assets, either money or shares or 401 or whatever it would be, to cover the supposed cost or potential price of the business if they wanted to keep it. And nearly always what happens is the business owner's left with a big business, right, on paper with a big valuation and a big revenue, but then has very little capital left and very little cash left to invest. So the business actually gets strangled for years because the business owner doesn't have any money. So he or she can't invest in the business because they've had to give up all of the cash and the equity to the person that they divorced. So they look at the size of the business and the revenue and they go, look, this business is doing $2 million. On paper, you might get 1.5 times revenue, which is a very simple number that people use to value a business. We're going to place the value on this business for $3 million. Now, obviously, on paper, it's who knows, right? It's like the classic case of a paper millionaire. And this is the first lesson in business. Don't think about your net worth as something that's on paper. What we need to start to think about is how do we get pounds, shillings and pence, like real things that you can take to the bank, cash and spend. Because the valuation of a business at 3 million is just a hypothetical conversation. It doesn't mean that anybody would actually pay for it. But what actually is the real sad part about this, and I've seen this happen, is a 3 million valuation on paper. Okay, cool. So let's say the marital home is, the estate is worth 4.5 million. And 1.5 million is in, let's do it like this. Let's say 6 million, right? They basically said there's 3 million in assets that are comprised of cash, 1.5 million in stocks, and then we've got a $1.5 million marital home. So I've got 3 million there. And then we've got this business that on paper is worth 3 million as well. So we're going to say that the business is worth 3 million and the cash and the assets that are liquid are also worth 3. So we've got 6 million to divvy up. And we want to do 3 million to the guy and 3 million to the gal. And the lawyer will say, well, she'll take 3 million in cash and keep the house. You can keep the business because that's worth 3 million. And it's nuts. It's absolutely absurd. But that is what some divorce lawyers will try and start the negotiations from. So then you're faced with and again, I've sat around CEO boardroom tables in my own office here, where people are literally faced with that type of dilemma. That if I want to keep the business and the cash, and it is a profitable business, I've got to give up $3 million worth of a home plus cash, plus stocks, shares, and whatever else that obviously the family's accrued over the years. So the lady walks off with liquid assets, right, and good cash flowing assets, and the guy is left with a business that on paper is worth 3 million. But now the problem with this, really, the second order consequence, is the business owner is left with a business and he's got no money to invest in it. So now he's got no money for growth, no money for investing in people, no cushion if it goes wrong. So what nearly always happens is the business owner becomes very conservative and he stops investing and he stops putting money in for staff and he withdraws the marketing budget because he's frightened. And he needs to collect cash as fast as he can because he's been used to having a cushion that he's built up over 10 or 15, 20 years while he was married. And that's a big deal, that when that little rug is pulled from under your feet and this little cushion to make a mistake, which as a sensible business owner, you accrue that cushion over years. Said it on the podcast that in the first 1 or 2 years, you're running and you're trading, but you haven't built up a cushion yet. And so it's very difficult if you've got measly profit margins, you're not building up a cushion. And the trick is to get the profit margin as high as possible and start to build up a personal cushion. So you've got a bit of personal money in a bank or in stocks or in shares or whatever. And don't let anybody tell you that having money sitting in a bank is not a good idea. I'm here to absolutely tell you that it is. Absolutely 1 billion% it is a good idea that you have money sat in an account as a cushion. You will sleep much better at night knowing that you can look at some money in an account tomorrow, because business is volatile, and if things go wrong or decisions don't work out, we all have an idea of how we think we want it to play out, but it doesn't always go that way with the best will in the world. A business owner that's got some cash in the bank sleeps at night, and a business owner that sleeps at night makes very good decisions. You show me somebody without money is trying to make decisions, and they are frightened and they're petrified. And nearly always what happens is they become the worst version of themselves. So all of a sudden they become a shit leader, they become a shit boss or a shit husband, they become a shitty dad. The clients feel it, everybody feels it around their ecosystem, and that causes them to lose clients and lose relationships, and all of the things that they were good at and valued and were kind of, doing well is gone because of this kind of nervous system horrible response that comes out that causes them to be what you might call a twin B. Twin A is the best version of themselves. Twin B is the worst. Twin A is the one you went on a date with. Twin B might be the one that is in your relationship 7 years later. You're thinking, what the hell happened to the one I fell in love with? Twin B came out. So the goal of dating is not to understand twin A, it's to get to twin B as quickly as possible and then ask, can I live with twin B? And that's in us all. We all have a twin B. And I can guarantee you a lack of money available to you nearly always brings out twin B a lot faster than you would like it to. So when that cushion gets stripped, there's an argument to say that the business's value is actually less because you have a business owner at the helm of that business who can't invest in that business and can't make decisions for and on behalf of that business. So legally, at this point, there's not much you could do. What I would say to any of you listening to this right now who are in your 20s and not married, there's this thing called a prenuptial agreement. And I absolutely 1 billion% will be recommending that my children are involved in a very, very lengthy, very thorough prenuptial agreement. And if they're ever in business, it would consider this. The value of the business on paper cannot be factored in to the estate. You can't. And I get it if you're married and the law and all of that stuff, but it doesn't mean that the law isn't an ass, and it doesn't mean that it's just wrong at every level for an arsehole lawyer to try to kind of manipulate the situation. And if you're not strong enough, they will do this. They'll strong arm you that it's that's the value of the business because they know that you've got emotional equity built into it. Now, the only advice I've ever given anybody, and this isn't advice I'm giving to you, but it is advice that I've actually given to somebody. How would we say off the record? Off the record?
Off the record.
This is my off the record advice, right? That is off the record. Did I say it's off the record? My off the record advice is just to say to the wife, you have the business, I'll have the house and the cash. You have the business. I don't want the business. You have it. I'm done. I'm about to retire. And let's see if the woman, let's see if the lady wants the business. I fucking bet she doesn't, because she doesn't want all the shit that comes with it. And you have to be brave enough and ballsy enough at this point to go, okay, I'm willing to walk away from the business. And therefore it's actually worthless. It isn't worth anything if I walk away from this business because I'm the guy who gets up every single day to run the fucking thing and make it work. And if it's that easy, you can have it. Tell the wife she can have it. You'll have the house, you'll have the cash, and you start the business again. And you wait and you do whatever's legal and whatever's right, but you have a little fucking a sabbatical, after the divorce, and you wait and you start another business because you're essentially the reason that the business is a success. And that's why in this case, this 50-50 split categorically doesn't work when it comes to how they divide assets up, because the business owner is the business, right? Probably at 3 million is still a hell of a input into this business that if he or she walked away, the business would essentially fall on its ass within 6 to 12 months. So the business isn't worth 3 million. So I hope and I pray that this business owner gets some balls and he realizes that some lawyer is literally trying this and hoping that you're weak and that you will have enough emotional equity built in, and you'll start getting worried about your patients and your staff and all of these things, and you'll crumble under the pressure and you'll say, okay, I'll keep the business, you go have the 3 million, and you get left with something that on paper might be worth it but might not be. And you put yourself in a horrible predicament, and you're essentially starting again from zero assets. So if this was me, I would absolutely be walking away from this business immediately. And I'd throw my hat in the ring and I'd just go, I'm out. Now let's see what the business is worth. Who's going to buy it? Or I would say, let's float it. If you think this is worth 3 million, let's put the business up for sale and let somebody buy it, because I'm not being left with something that's worth this much on paper. And I would absolutely call their bluff. But my absolute primary response would be to write back to that lawyer. First of all, call him a complete jumped up fucking asshole, because he probably is. And I'd say, if she wants the business and she thinks it's worth 3 million, she can have the business and she can get up every day and she can run the business. And I'd say that if it was a guy, and I have actually had this conversation with multiple female business owners, where in the end, the female business owner has earned significantly more money from the business than the husband ever did in salary. And the husband and the wife are unfortunately going through a divorce and splitting up. And the wife has been left with the bill. And the husband's lawyer has basically said, we think this business is worth this. We're going to add that to the estate. He wants the house and he wants the money. You can keep the business. And he's willing to sign away all his rights to any future sale or shares or profits from the business that he might have been entitled to. And I simply turned around and said, tell him you don't want it. Tell him you're done. Tell him he can have the business and he can buy it off you. And let's see what the lawyer does. Now, of course, they ain't going to take the business, right? There's no way, because they don't want to run it. They couldn't run it. And frankly, it will go to the dogs. And then the ultimate asset that you always have to remember is actually the business owner and their skills. And this is what I always remind you of. And I remind every one of my clients, you hang around with me for long enough and you go learn real business skills. You come into Planet Paul and you learn real business skills. And this is my lesson to everybody listening. You become a real asset. If you took any of my businesses away from me tomorrow, leave me with the skills, I might not get it back to the level it is today in a year or two, but I do very well within a year or two, because I'm left with the thing that built it, my brain, my work ethic, my determination, my customer service skills, my love of people, my obsession with marketing, my understanding of how sales works in any business, my understanding of how people work and what motivates them and what doesn't. And how to get people to buy into whatever it is the project. Like, all of those are the skills that I've been able to learn and harness over a nearly 20-year period now. And this is the bit that I don't think business owners or people who go into business ever fully understand. If you have a business without business skills, you have a liability. If you have a business with business skills, not only do you have an asset that'll pay you money, you have an ultimate asset, which is business skills, which allows you to go into any marketplace with any business, and within reason, you'd probably make it a success. Within reason, right? There's a little asterisk. There's certain things you would have to have real good knowledge of the product. There's no getting away from it. But any service-based, patient kind of centric-based, internet-based business these days, you master those skills, you got yourself two assets: a cash flow positive business that's profitable, and the real asset, which is the business skills and the commercial skills that you could take through with you for life. So if this business folded tomorrow, right, and went to the dogs because the guy just goes, fuck it, I don't want that included in the business and I'm not having it and I'm having nothing to do with it, I just want my share of the cash and the shares, and I'm willing for the business to drop down on its ass or for it to be sold for a bargain basement price, I'd rather take 1 million of an actual $2 million business than be left with, on paper, what might be worth $3 million in this instance. I'd rather just go, cool, find somebody to give us $2 million, give me $1 million, and I'm going to go off and start another business. I'd absolutely have that all day. No questions. Because then I still get a cut of the other $3 million. And then I get to walk away with what? At that point now? $2.5 million. at least I've got something coming in. And I know because I've built a business with real skills and real effort and hard work and hustle and everything else, I'll just fucking do it again. I'll have a few months off and I'll take a break from the divorce and I'll spend a little bit of the money that at least I've now got. I'd relax a little, then I'd start again. And I'd build the business up from scratch. And I'd probably do what most business owners do who've sold. You wait for the person who bought your business to fuck it up, and then you go buy it back off them for half the price that you paid. And that's exactly what I would do. I'd say one of two things. I don't want it. You can have it. You buy it off me. In fact, you can have it for a discount price. You can have it for $1.5 million. You can give it to me. I'd put it on the market and I'd let somebody buy it. And if it was worth $3 million and I got $1.8 million for it, great. The wife gets 900 grand, I get 900 grand, but I still get a 50-50 split of the assets, the cash, the shares and the pensions and everything else. I'll take a little bit of time off and then I'll go back to the marketplace. I'll go and find a little unit or an empty premises somewhere and I'd start another business. There we go. And I would move on. I'd be happier. I'd be healthier. I'd have less pressure. I'd probably have a smaller business because I've got a little bit of cash in my pocket at this point now because I've sold it. And I'm happy and I'll go again. But the key point in it all is understanding what your value is commercially. And this is something that most people don't really understand, right? For, want of a better way to try and explain this. You've got these clinicians who come out of school and they think that they're valuable because a college lecturer told them their degree is worth something. And I've got news for everybody who thinks like that. Your qualification, it's worth what an employer will pay you, right? That's it. The qualification is worth what an employer will pay you. And right now, your qualification's worth probably $150,000 a year because that's kind of what employers out there in the hospital systems will pay right now. But if I've got commercial skills, it isn't that long before I get into the marketplace and my skills are worth millions. Because marketing and sales and recruitment are worth 10 times more than any PT clinical skills, period. It's not even for debate that the marketplace will reward very good marketing, sales, and business skills significantly more than it ever will a PT clinical skill. We're not even talking. But if you just develop your PT skills, then cool, you're stuck at 150. But if we go develop our business skills, then those business skills can be transferable, that can go where I want with them, and no lawyer can put a price on my business skills, ever, right? They're not going to go down on the P&L or the balance sheet of the family. My personal business skills and life understanding, they're not sitting on a balance sheet, so nobody's going to half them, right? They can't do that. So if I assess this situation, I'm going, well, let's just protect the downside. Let's get some cash. Let's not do anything silly. If the wife wants the business and she thinks it's worth $3 million, give her the fucking business. Tell her to give you $1.5 million. You have a year off, do jack shit, go and find a big fucking Cuban cigar, smoke it on a beach somewhere, and relax. Get yourself on Tinder. Take some pictures on the car with a big Cuban in your mouth, saying, I've just got $1.5 million on my business. Thank you very much. Swipe right. What do you do? Swipe left or right? What is it?
You swipe right for right and left if you don't want to.
Okay. This is exactly what I would do, just to piss the lawyer off and the ex-wife. You give me $1.5 million, right? I'm getting a big fucking victory cigar out in the big Cuban cigar, right? I'm going to put a nice pair of shades on it. I'm going to rent a Lamborghini for the weekend. I'm going to lie on the front of the Lamborghini and I'm going to take some pictures. I'm going to upload the fucking things to Tinder because I'm going to wait for somebody to swipe right, or I'm going to swipe right, or whatever it is that I do, right? And when somebody gets in touch, I'm going to say recently divorced.
That's going to be the bio.
Yeah. Recently divorced. Yeah. My wife bought my business. I'm now loaded. Thank you. Do you want me to take you out on my wife's money? Right? That's what I would do. How do you think I'd get dates?
Yeah, but unlimited matches.
I might get some gold diggers when we talked. We were talking about gold diggers recently, right? So fuck this lawyer. There's two ways to play. You're not going to beat him legally, but you've got to understand what your real asset is. And the real asset is you, right? That's the news flash. If you've built a business and you didn't get there by kissing a doctor's ass, and you can repeat it because it's about a marketing system and it's about a really good customer service and really good people and really good recruitment and KPIs and all of the foundations that every successful business has, you are the fucking asset. And newsflash, these lawyers are that thick, and they are, most of them, by the way. They're fucking like this. Wouldn't. This, they know the law. Right? But this is a different type of thinking that I've always encouraged. You are the asset. And if there's the keys. I don't even want a spare one. You can have them. You said $3 million. Do you know what? I'll take $1 million. Thank you very much. You can have the other two. Buy me out. I'll have a mill. I'll go off. I'll sit on the beach with this big Cuban in my hand, and I'll wait for a few ladies to swipe right, and I'm just going to have 6 months off. And that's it. And I'll make sure I update my Facebook post of me on dates every night so that my ex-wife can see that she's paying for all of these dates. And the lawyer, I hope he fucking sees it as well. You get me? I can do that, right? Or I can deal with shit from this lawyer for the next 12 to 18 months and probably have to pay for every fucking letter he writes for you to fucking agree to sell your business for $3 million, even though it's not worth $3 million. So why would we do that? Because nobody really understands the real game that we're playing. Unfortunately, lawyers get you playing their game and society gets you playing its game, which is an absolute dead end for a successful business owner or a successful person if you are not careful. So number one, if you are not married, I'd strongly suggest a prenup that you are considering having a very, very successful business. And this happens more common than you think. And I don't care how much you're in love, how much you think this thing will never end. Like, be very, very careful when it comes to your business, because the valuation of your business being thrown in to your potential divorce settlement could cripple you. And I tell you from absolute first hand, looking owners in the eye, that this type of thing breaks them. This is not a ball breaker. This is an absolute decade of your life that it will take you to recover from if the lawyer factors in the on-paper version value of your business. Fair enough if you're just stripping hard cash and assets and you're going 50-50, we've got 3 million, you can have $1.5 million, I've got $1.5 million. At least both parties can get on and they've got a little bit in their hand, right? Do you get me? But for the wife to walk away with 3 million and this guy to be left with a 3 million business on paper, right? That you know, everybody will look at the business in any way they can, try and value it for more than it actually is worth. I mean, that's a decade to recover if you're not careful. Shot the keys at the wife, ask her to go and open up the clinic in the morning and say, if the lawyer reckons it's worth 3, I'm going to give it to you a discount because I used to love you. That's what we do. Because I used to love you, you can have the clinic. I'll give you a discount on it, and I'm happy to walk away with $1 million. You've inherited $2 million in the business. You go and get the bank loan. I'm off to smoke a big Cuban and sign up for Tinder's Pro version. There you go.
I think this is the perfect time for the...
Your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
I think I would do all right on Tinder as a millionaire. You would. You'd have the big fucking Lambo. You wouldn't you? What would you do? Big Lamborghini?
Jeez.
What would it be? The Rolls Royce?
I'd get on all dating sites.
What?
Tinder, Hinge, anything.
As opposed to what?
Yeah.
What is your Tinder profile picture?
I don't know. It's not a Lambo, though.
Or is it Rolls?
Yeah, I wish. If it was a Lambo.
It's not my G-Wagon, is it?
It might be. It might be your house. The pool.
My pool looks very familiar. The pool that you're in and your is that my slide in the background of your Tinder profile?
That's good. I never thought about that.
There you go.
Keep that noted.
There you go. I've seen a few of my staff used to play those games. They used to get in the pool and all of a sudden these pictures were coming out. They're like doing the lens. I'm thinking, where's that picture going? But anyway, on a serious note, be really careful of that because, like I said, the hard assets, you can slice them up and you both walk away and that's fine, right? Like, I get that. That's fair. Whatever you want to call it. The business's potential value is the killer. If it was actually sold and it was 3 million, whatever, right? Like, again, split it. If you're married and you haven't gone in with a prenup, you have to split it. There's not much you can do. But it's when you're getting left with nothing in the bank and this thing on paper, you are essentially a paper millionaire. And that's what the majority of the world are doing. They're adding up their assets and they're all saying, on paper, I'm worth this much money. And I'm factoring in my brand IP and I'm factoring my fucking Instagram following and I'm factoring my Twitter following and all that's worth money. And I'm factoring in my car and all of this stuff. And it's a complete load of horse shit. To me, your net worth, go add up, how much cash could you get probably within the next 7 to 30 days, right? Not including your current house that you live in. Let's go and add up what cash you've got in the bank, what shares, stocks, Vanguard, kind of things like that you could sell tonight, and any property that you could reasonably liquidate in the next 30 days. That's, and after tax, by the way, that's your net worth. Everything else is hypothetical, in my humble opinion, and I choose to see it that way. And no matter what anybody does, whenever I do a net worth exercise with anybody, I go through them regularly because I'm constantly updating estates and wills and trusts and things like that for my children. And regularly it comes up as to what would be the net worth right now. And it's like, okay, well, there's the hypothetical and there's the, if I drop down dead tomorrow, like this is what we know to be true, right? Within reason, 10% circa. But the rest, the potential value of the business, I don't know. I mean, I have a reasonable guess as to what Paul Gough Media would be worth and how much, how many I might get for it if I sold it. But I don't like factoring it in because it's just hypothetical, and I don't live that way. I like facts. I like the is world rather than the bullshit potential world. But somebody will use that against you in a court of law, in a divorce, I would imagine. And again, I'm not a lawyer, and as you could tell, I don't really play by those, kind of rules or whatever. I just think, chuck the keys back. The wife can have it. Give her a discount if you want. I suppose depends upon how much you dislike her and the reason for the divorce, I guess. Get the cash. If in doubt, protect cash and assets. That would be my advice in anything. Protect cash and assets, knowing full well that if you have developed good business skills, take 6 months off and you could build another business and start again, and it wouldn't take you that long. In fact, here's what I would suggest. If you've spent 10 or 15 years building a business and somebody took it away from you, I would go on record of saying if you've learnt the business skills, you could rebuild that business in 12 to 18 months that took you 15 years. I guarantee you, if, and it's a big if, that you have learned the business skills and it didn't come with sweat equity. It didn't just come with 20-hour days and kissing doctors' asses. If you learned how to build a marketing system, build a team, KPIs, Facebook ads, Google ads, all that stuff that I said at the start of the show, if you've gone and built all of that, I bet you could rebuild your business in 20% of the time frame that you've built the current one, because that's just the way it works. Like the second business you build faster than the first, the third business is built faster than the second, because you're getting better. And this is the wake-up call for everybody. I keep saying this is the ultimate factor that makes the difference. You and your commitment to business skills. That's it. Your commitment to business skills and life skills and how life really works, and then you add on the wealth skills and the retention of cash skills and the investing skills, and all that will come further down the line. You are the asset. And if you started investing in yourself like the real asset, like an athlete would, and protect yourself like an athlete would, and invest in coaching like an athlete would, and you have a coach for finance, and you have somebody helping you with hiring, and you have somebody helping you think about life and leadership, and you're involved in these conversations, you are the asset. And that's why if somebody took the business away from you within 12 to 18 months, you would get it back. You'd be a TV show, right? And in this day and age, you just put a camera on yourself and it'd be how I rebuilt my business in 12 months or less to bigger than where it was when I lost it. You'd actually get paid from somebody to watch you do that. So if we think differently in this life and we see the world differently, you will get radically different outcomes from the brain dead nuggets out there asleep, sleepwalking through life, the majority of people. Asking stupid people stupid questions, getting crazy stupid answers is the way the world is right now. So good luck. Good luck to what was his name?
Oh, his name was
good luck to was he from North Carolina?
Yeah, Marcus.
Good luck to Marcus. There you go. What else?
All right. Well, got something a little bit different here. We have a comment that came in recently from Facebook, on Facebook.
The Facebook or Facebook?
The Facebook.
Okay, I'm going to call it the Flake Book.
And it was actually from Friday's podcast episode. And what Alex was referring to is...
Come on, name him.
Alex Moon,
okay,
on our recent comment here.
Public forum. So
yes. Yep. He says, gold digger is a term for someone looking to be supported by another without having to provide value. Being paid based on delivered value is basically the opposite of that term.
Oh, Alex, it's predictable as clockwork. Obviously a scorned PT, I'd imagine, who isn't getting paid as much as he would like to at this point. My point about a gold digger is it's somebody who will do something and go after it for financial reward only, right? That's my version of a gold digger. Somebody who just goes looking for gold. There's no real love of it. There's no real enjoyment in it. All they're after is as much as they can get out of it from a cash point of view. Because let's face it, again, you take for Everything I say to you on this podcast comes from me consulting and dealing with 350 plus businesses every month and having done so for around about 11 years. There's nothing that comes out of my mouth that isn't some version very close to what I hear on a daily basis from working in the trenches with clinic owners or having been through it myself. And what I hear now is that people are leaving very nice boutique concierge, cool, modern, trendy sports therapy type clinics where it was the passion of that PT to be in, for example, the triathlon niche or the what do you call it? Not the triathlon. What's the other thing that they all do? CrossFit, right? They're in the CrossFit niche. And so this is a really cool, modern, trendy PT clinic in a city like San Diego. And a business owner is telling me that, and I'm not saying this is happening exactly in San Diego, but you get my point. Like, there could be a really cool, chic clinic in town with great service, great energy, great vibe. They've all got their fitness kit on and they're all doing classes together and there's a great energy and vibe in that place. And it was the dream of the clinician to work in such a place with that type of population. And that business owner was paying 100 to 120 to keep that guy happy. And then he sees a job ad for $150,000 a year to go and work in a shitty hospital system and working with the geriatric population, right? Where you are probably walking old guys and girls to the toilet and back and checking their oxygen sats to see if that they're going to make it through the night. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but they're leaving this world behind that they loved to go to this world that they hate for more money. So I loved this and I enjoyed this. I hate this. I don't like it. And the only reason I'm here is for money. And I'm going to get as much out of I can from this as I humanly can that is possible. It's very unlikely that I'm going to bring that much energy and passion to this thing. I'm probably just going to take my money and go home as quickly as I can. And that's what I'm getting at with gold diggers. They're not really bringing anything to it. There's no love. There's no enthusiasm. There's no joy to joy. They're not getting in there every day and going, wow, this is amazing. Thank you. A lot of them are going, great. Like, when do I get paid? Cool. I'm here for the cash, right? I'm only here for the money. And I think that's what's happening to a lot of PTs in this profession right now. And as for the second comment that the guy made, the problem is most PTs simply don't bring enough value. They bring very little, if any, value relative to what the businesses is making. And I referenced it earlier, that there is the perceived and potential value that these clinical educators are talking about, and these college lecturers are basically saying, hey, you go out there, your money's, your value in the marketplace is this, it's amazing, and know your worth, know your value, right? And that is just a crock of shit. Then there's the real, what is this worth, right? The value that a PT brings to a clinic is about, well, it should be 3.5 times what you pay them. So if I pay you 150 grand, I've got to be getting 525 grand back. And I put it to you that most PTs in most clinics, their value is not even 50 grand, 60 grand at lucky. If I'm paying you 60 grand, right, if I bet you I'm not even getting 180 to 200 grand back in some cases. There'll be hundreds of thousands of PTs in the United States right now who aren't even bringing in $180,000 to $200,000 in small PT clinics, yet are asking for $100,000 in salary. They're getting paid $100,000, but they're only bringing in $200,000 of value back. I'm sorry, but that does not work in any business anywhere. A clinical PT needs to be bringing in 3.5 times their salary in order to be valuable. Everything else is hypothetical value. It's ego value. It is, I think I'm worth it. What was the L'Oreal? Is L'Oreal famous over here? Because I'm worth it?
Yeah.
Remember the ad? Mm-hmm. Because I'm worth it. Right? And the girl would, put this thing on her hair, and at the end of it, the ad went, what? Because I'm worth it. Right? I think it should be rewritten in the PT profession to, because I think I'm worth it. Because that's the bullshit that they come out with. I think I'm worth it. I'm like, well, in whose head? Like your parents'? Yours? Like your girlfriend's, your wife's, your husband's? Like, there's a hard rule in business. You either are or you're not. You either do or you don't. You either bring it in or you don't. If you're worth it, you're bringing in $500,000 if you want $150,000. And if you are getting paid $100,000, you've got to be bringing in $350,000 to $400,000 in order to be worth it, right? Real commercial value is that's how it's formed, right? That's what it's about. Anything else is bullshit, hypothetical. I think I'm worth it, or I would like to be worth it. I wish I was worth it. It isn't as much to do that. Your skills and whatever they're telling you have to be translated into real commercial value in order for this world to survive. Period. Minimum. And for you business owners listening to this, if you want to know if your clinicians are valuable, it's not some bullshit certificate that they bring in, go, look how much value I'm bringing to the clinic, with another certificate we can put on the wall, just what the clinic fucking needs, right? Because we haven't got enough of those things. If you want to know if they're valuable, take what you're paying them and then go look at what they're bringing in. And if it's not 3.5 times what you're paying them, they ain't bringing enough value to justify being in the job. Or you're not doing a good enough job of bringing them enough patients to make it work. But nearly always it's not that. Most fucking PTs can't spell plan of care and keep people on 6, 8, 9, 10, 12 treatment plan sessions, whatever it will be, upselling, wellness, whatever it is. All very, very valuable things, in my humble opinion, that a lot of people right now want and are spending money on. So are you valuable in your own head, or are you valuable in the real world where it matters most, in the commercial sense of life, where it's about what do you get paid and what do you bring back to that business in order for it to sustain its longevity in the marketplace, to be able to continue to serve more clients, to be able to grow, to bring more people in, to do all of the things that constitutes real value. If you want real, hold their feet to the flames, if you like, and to understand what real value is in a business and how it works just in the world, not in the bullshit world that we live in its PC world of, what do? I work hard. Well, I don't really pay you to work hard. I pay you for this outcome. I need this thing happening every day, 5 days a week, 340 days a year. If you can do that, you're providing terrific value. And by the way, some are doing that. There's no getting away from it. But this profession, as always, statistically, 8 out of 10 are awful, are dreadful. And again, I've lost count. In fact, if I had a rough count as to how many physios I've hired, I've lost count at 70 over the period of time that I've been in business. I've lost count at 70. And I could equally break that down to 10 or 12 that I would rehire. Most of them are fucking useless. They don't know how to use their hands. Literally, they wouldn't know their ass from their elbow. But they're obsessed with another class or another course or another fucking Con Ed or a CEU thing that they go on. And I used to look at them and think, when is this actually going to materialize to you being able to speak to a patient, to look them in the eye, to talk confidently to them, to support them on their journey, to empathize with them? Not spout facts and logic at them and research in some white paper that you fucking read online about how that is relevant to their condition. Because that doesn't translate in a patient's head. You can have all of the clinical skills in the world. You can't communicate them, they ain't staying on. And therefore you're not valuable. You have the potential to be valuable, is what I would be telling your staff when they come at you. Oh, well, my skills are valuable. No, let's rephrase that. Potential. But I'm worth 150. No. Your ego right now says that it thinks you are worth 150. But let me show you how this world works, kid. Something that your parents probably should have taught you when you were 14 and 15 and 16. This isn't about hard work, although that is an attribute that you need. Ultimately, it's about outcomes, guys. When we get paid for this, this is what's expected. If I'm working on a building site, I'm getting paid $200 a day. Somebody's going to expect me to put 200 bricks down. And if I don't put 200 bricks down every single day, the home doesn't get built within 90 days, the home builder's pissed, and somebody's losing their job. Wherever you go, every profession, every role, everybody's got something that they should be held accountable to as an outcome that determines if they are valuable. Now, we live in a stupid world, right? We live in a world where politicians want to create everything grey. We're not allowed black and white anymore. We're not allowed on or off. We're not allowed good or bad. We're not allowed this simple. This is effective. This is a win. This is not a win. Like, everything's grey. There's nothing in the middle anymore. If you lose, that's okay. At least you didn't come last. We're all winners. What is it at school these days? Like, what is the phrase? It's not the taking part. It's not the winning. It's the taking part that counts, right? That's what I mean by like they've just confused everything. Everything's a grey area now, right? You're not even allowed to win. It's probably offensive these days, is it, to win? Would you say? Would you say it's offensive to win? Now, I suspect that this is the stupidity of the world that we are. In fact, we're not even moving into it anymore. We're already in it. It's already offensive to win. To win, right? It doesn't matter what the sport is. It's now offensive. It doesn't matter what the country is. It's got some problem with its roots and where it came from. Everything is fucking offensive to everybody. There's no such thing anymore. It's like, you did that, like you did your job or you didn't do your job. Yeah, but I worked hard. Well, you didn't achieve the outcome. The house didn't get built on time. Yeah, but we all worked hard. Yeah, but you didn't put the bricks down. 200 a day. We calculated if you did 200 a day for 90 days, the house got built. Yeah, but the house didn't get built. But you can't say that. That's not right. It's not fair. It's not about building houses anymore. The level of greyness that we've got to, vagueness, is stunning. And I suspect as the years go on, this will become more and more prevalent in society, that nobody wants to be held accountable for anything. And the politicians and your fucking Sanders and AOCs and all them, they will want as much vagueness as humanly possible, because it's nobody's fault, is it, after all, that life hasn't worked out for all of these people. And it's nobody's fault that they didn't get their ass out and actually commit to a job and do something productive to achieve a result. That's not their fault anymore. It used to be that that's the way life was. From what I can gather, in the 70s and the 80s and maybe even the 90s, there was a period of time where we were all held accountable. We either got a result or we didn't. It was an A or a B. Now it's an A plus, an A minus, an A minus minus. Just give the kid a fucking A or a B. Tell him he passed or he didn't pass. Let's not create all of this fucking artificial success in the middle of it, because it really is causing problems for kids in their 20s who are disillusioned with life. The minute that somebody like me comes along and says that's not good enough, they crumble. Dude, we agreed this. What changed? Well, I didn't think you meant that. No, like, dude, we needed that. That's how it is. That's how it is in life. It's how it is in business. And then they'll come up with all sorts of, but it's the way you said it, and I just don't like your tone, and I don't like your attitude. And it's like, well, dude, I don't like paying you 100 grand a year for you to see fucking 8 patients a week and screw most of those consultations up that are killing my business. So what is value? I put it back to the Alex. My version of value and the bullshit theoretical academic value are very, very different. And I know which one, if you stick to, you'll have a significantly better quality of life. If you are interested in a life that is about achievement and fulfillment and real and actual success, not a participation trophy and spending your whole life frustrated and miserable trying to work out why no matter what you do, it never feels like you're really accomplishing anything. And I wonder if at the end of a lot of people's lives, that's going to be the feeling of regret. That there was a lot of hot air, there was a lot of smoke and mirrors, but nothing really got accomplished. I just wonder. Or, and I'm talking to myself here, are people going to be that brain dead to it all and numb to it all, and they'll have been marketed to so well by politicians that we won't even be considering that another life was ever available to people that was about outcomes and achievements and genuine and real success, because the whole thing just became a malaise and a sea of greyness. There you go. That's my thoughts. A sea of greyness is where we're headed in society, where we literally can't separate anything from anyone, and we're not allowed to say that somebody is successful or not successful, because that would just be hurting somebody's feelings. And I think we're already there.
Well, we had another comment under that, actually.
Another comment. Here we go. Come on then.
Jenna Lauer said, yeah, but in the eyes of our employees, all of us cash pay clinic owners are gold diggers for wanting to raise our prices.
Well, I love what Jenna's saying here. She's obviously, again, been scorned a few times by some staff who probably, I'll be respectful, by some staff who have zero, with a capital Z, understanding of how any business works. All that most staff know in these PT businesses is what a clinical CEU is, where to go on Reddit to moan about their business owner. They will, I'm sure, know the far end of the latest research that some boring guy in New Zealand has just produced after 19 years of studying a sheep and how that sheep reacted to some therapeutic exercise that he's invented. But when it comes to real business and commercial skills and how a business actually operates, 99% of these PTs couldn't spell risk. They couldn't spell responsibility. And even if they could, they would not want to carry either. And so it doesn't surprise me that Jenna's probably felt the wrath of a few cynical, obnoxious, rude, disrespectful PTs who are happy to take a job and never once have to worry about whether or not they will get paid, expect to be paid on the 28th of the month every month or 3 times a month if they live in certain states, and will resent any request from somebody like Jenna to ask them to participate in the success and the growth of the business. They will push back. They will make life harder for Jenna, who's trying to push a big ass boulder up a hill by pushing it down. Most of the time, Jenna's pushing so hard this rock that she can't even see that there are 3 members of staff stood behind the rock pushing it back down the hill because the rock is so fucking big that it hides the PTs pushing the thing back down the hill. Because that is the life of a PT business owner. And that is unfortunately the world that we are in and the cesspit that we are pulling from, that there is such negativity towards the employees. And by the way, it's not just in the PT profession, it's generally in society, that there is such negativity towards business owners who are trying their damnedest day after day, night after night, blood, sweat, tears, sacrifice from kids, nights worrying about whether or not they can pay bills, wondering whether to remortgage, get a line of credit against the home to keep 6 staff in a job, with 3 days to go before payroll, begging the boss at the bank to release some funds to keep people in jobs. 99% of employees have zero clue that this is what many business owners go through on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. And so these petulant comments that you hear don't surprise me one bit, that's the level that we're at in society. That there's zero understanding and respect for the shit that a business owner has to deal with. But why would they, right? Most of these PTs, they'll just fucking go and get another job somewhere else. I'm getting some comments on here. I appreciate your book and was further wondering if there are any one specific piece of advice for a chiropractor starting their own practice out of school, what would it be? I'll come back to that in just a moment. There is some good dialogue coming on here on the Instagram. I think as we close that out, PT business owners need to understand that there is a bridge that you have to learn to cross between good staff who will help you push the rock up the hill and attitudinally bad staff, which is a lot, by the way, in society right now because of what they see on the internet. You've got to hope and pray that you hire somebody with good morals and values and has been raised by a good family, hard-working family that has instilled a good work ethic into somebody that is still out there, by the way. They're still out there. They are getting harder to find. There's no doubt whatsoever. There is a definite lack of a generation that has been raised by parents who instill real good ethics and values. I'm not saying they're not loved, and I'm not saying they're not nice people, but I'm saying that there is now a genuine lack of real, authentic work ethic values and kind of timekeeping values and just life kind of, come on, let's go after it kind of values. And even, am I allowed to say it, respect for a guy or a girl that fucking has probably remortgaged their home to provide people with employment. Seriously, like just a lack of understanding of that the business owners and the business owner community are going through so much hell to try and keep people in jobs. And then you get petulant schoolboy girl reactions to things like, we need to raise the prices. Well, we do need to raise the prices. Everybody's raising prices on us. You're asking for pay rises, so we have to raise the prices, and we can't have petulant responses to that. So I don't think business owners are greedy. And by the way, I think somebody mentioned $300 an hour. I, again, will go on record of saying 9, maybe 8 out of 10 people listening to this are charging less than $300. And I'm going to say on record in 2026 that even $300 per session right now is not enough to keep up with the pay requests of PTs. Economically, it doesn't work if you're less than $300. That is why your business profit is probably non-existent. You'll have a good salary. You'll have a salary, but you won't have profit. You'll be at 3 to 5% profit if you're charging less than $300. Factually, I know how it just doesn't add up. For most people now, and depending upon where you're at, you've got to get these rates up towards 350, 375. and that will be to hire a PT on 125 to 150 who sees 30 visits a week. Basic economics of how a successful business is run. So there you go. Alex, I suspect you are a PT. And Jenna, I suspect you are a PT business owner. And isn't that the dance and the merry dance that we are having all day, every day? The majority of the world will never, ever own the responsibility of the risk to run a business, but are very quickly to judge and chastise and push the rock back down the hill of the business owner who is trying very, very hard to make a lot of people happy. So we go. Done.
What was the last part? You said the majority of the world won't understand the risk of...
Ever understand the risk and the responsibility required of a business owner who is trying to push a rock up a hill at the same time. When you've got members of staff pushing that rock back down the hill, and you've got energy being expended on pushing it up, plus you've got the psychological, emotional weight of risk and responsibility, plus your own pride and everything else that goes with it. When you've got that and somebody's pushing that rock down, man, you've got to find those people and get them off that bus as fast as you can possibly do it, at any cost, at any price, because you're already paying the ultimate price, which is your own self-worth. And you're going to put up with those people for the rest of your life, and it'll just become a habit. And more you'll think that you've become reliant upon these people, and actually they're the ones who are causing the emotional burden and the fear and the doubt that you're living with, because you would make much better decisions if you weren't worried about the decisions or the pushback or the ferociousness of the opinions of the people that, by the way, you're fucking paying. I think it's nuts. But common. All of this is so common. And again, God bless the Planet Paul community. This is what we're about, sticking together through these types of decisions and conversations so that we can navigate them. And we all have to go through this. You need a lot of self-worth to be a successful business owner. You need a lot of balls to be a successful business owner, and grit and determination, and just being comfortable punched in the mouth a few times and just getting back up and knowing that whatever decision you make, even if it's wrong, it doesn't reflect who you are as a person. It just is a moment in time, a journey that you're on, decisions that you have to make that come with the territory, and you're just going to hope that you make more good ones than bad ones. And even then, you can actually make more bad ones as long as the good ones are big good ones. And you just hope that enough people on the journey understand you and support you for long enough till you get there. And in the end, you'll realize that you actually don't even need that many people to do that, to get to where you want to be in your life. So there we go. Call over. Happy with that?
Happy with it.
All right. I'm just going to quickly answer that question. Specific to business. So I've got, this is Jack Ali, I think. Hi, Paul. I appreciate your book, Patient Accelerator, and was further wondering if there was one specific piece of advice for chiropractors starting their own practice out of school, what would it be? Obsess over marketing. Like, that's all it ever is when you're starting. Obsess over your energy, your customer service. Bring all of the attributes that you've got that people love about you to the forefront of everything, right? That's the first 2 years of business. All of your interactions, all of your emails. Be the brightest spark when you answer the phone. Be the brightest person that will come across. But in the end, that sweat equity, you can't rely upon that. It's just becoming obsessive with marketing. Like, obsess over marketing. It will be the best skill sets. After my new Patient Accelerator book, I would recommend reading To Sell is Healthy. There's no point in having leads if you ain't going to sell them. And most people ain't selling them because they don't have the confidence of the belief system. So it's a sales system book, but it's also a belief system book as well. So I would go there next. To Sell is Healthy. In fact, if you get in touch with my office, I'll send you one. Just send a little DM with your details, and I'll send it out to you in the next few days. So there we go. All right. Executive Producer J. EP Executive EPJ. There you go. We've got Executive Producer J, and we've got the EPA in Andrew. All right. Thank you. We'll be back again. Remember how the format works at the Paul Gough on Instagram. We're answering your questions, big or small, and head over to ppmlive26.com. Get on the early bird list. Once you're on that list, you will get the best offers and promotions, including free hotel rooms. So make sure you are there or be square. One of the two. See you soon. Thank you.